Hi there, it's future Ibrahim. Just coming in to say sorry about the echo in this one. I fiddled with all sorts of settings. I could not get it to go away. My subpart editing skills just could not get rid of the echo. I hope it's not too distracting and doesn't ruin the experience a bit too much, but sorry about that.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome to Infallible, where today we'll be discussing a subject as controversial as any other. Today it's just the co-founders, me and Ibrahim,
Yo,
and we actually disagree on something
yep,
today, so it should be quite an exhilarating episode. I believe it's season 2, episode 3.
yep.
We'll be discussing something that's very big in the world right now, especially in America, and
Oh
that
yeah, definitely.
is the pro-life versus pro-choice argument.
Yep. This is gonna be a good one. I can already tell. I think I stand a chance this time as well. I mean, I might be jinxing myself, but I think I stand a chance in this debate.
No, yeah, it's actually for me one of the hardest arguments. Actually,
Is
it's
it?
so difficult. Yeah, because there's no
There's no
there's
correct
no,
answer. Yeah.
yeah, there's no obvious right or wrong. I can't really
Yeah.
you know.
Should we? I think the best stance is the middle stance, isn't it?
Well,
Like,
what's the middle stance?
well, that's where I'm sort of in that camp, but not really. It's sort of like the argument of pro circumstance, like
Oh, right. Okay. Cool.
in the events of rape and things like that. But I guess we should probably outline our takes first.
Okay.
So who goes first?
Do you want to go first, Ibrahim? You go first.
All right, sure. I am on pro-life team, not because of religion. I don't have religion, but I should probably not say that. I might get if my family watches the video, I might get shot on. But not because of religion. But that I do believe there's two exceptions to the rule. In the event of a woman getting raped, and in the event that the woman's life is in danger. Those are the two events where I would say that abortion should be allowed. But any other circumstance, I say abortion is wrong. Abortion is evil.
Incest?
It says no. Yep, abortion wrong. Only those two circumstances.
All right.
I'll explain right now.
I am pro-choice. It's I guess from a practical sense, I think pro-choice makes more sense because abortions will happen regardless, right? We can agree on that. It will happen. Women will still try and get rid of their babies some way, one way or another. It's just if we were to ban it, we'd be banning the safe, legal way of terminating a pregnancy. And I just think it's not exactly the right choice. I just think it's the lesser of two evils, which is basically that.
I think we should probably start with that point because I think that's a good thing to start with, the whole argument of the law, the legality of it. Because I personally believe that it's banning safe abortions, but you can apply that to any rule. Like you can say that with guns as well. Like, oh, if we ban guns, people will just buy them illegally, and then school shootings will still happen. But we should still ban them because it would reduce them from happening. And I think, especially if the woman has a risk of getting caught, fewer women are gonna firstly try for unsafe abortions, but more importantly, try for unsafe sex. Like that thing would get reduced completely, and that's the same reason why incest or underage children are also something that I wouldn't allow abortion for, because it would reduce the incentive, if that makes sense. Because for me, abortion is like a get out of jail free card. Just do the thing and just don't face the consequence. That's what it feels like. But there's no moral there.
I would argue the woman has to face the consequences of it. Right?
The woman and the doctor, right? Isn't it both?
Yeah. I know, but I'm talking about who's going through the actual thing. It's going to be the woman, isn't it? If a man does it, right? That's it. He just dumps and leaves, right? That's the extent of the effect that it has on him, right?
I mean, not particularly.
Yes, particularly. Like you can.
Because you have financial support as well.
No, you don't. I'm talking about from a purely practical sense of the word. A man has much less investment when he has to do it. right? Because he's not in there for the long run anymore. He doesn't need to be there for the long run. He just needs to provide the genetic material and leave. That's it. Whereas a woman now has to go through 9 months of this, right? Of diet.
But why not? Because like,
What do you mean?
when do couples have they have sex in a relationship
No,
or in a?
I'm not talking about couples. I'm literally
Like
talking
when
about
else would this
the
apply?
mechanics of it. Huh?
Because like in a realistic standpoint, you only have sex once you're a couple or in prostitution, and in prostitution you have like that. I mean, that's just the job, isn't it?
No,
So
but I'm
for
talking about
couples, there is an investment.
from a mechanics point of view, a mistake is much more is a much bigger deal for a woman than it is for a man, basically, right? So when we say it's like a get out jail free card, I feel like they sort of need that because we're not really operating on a fair playing field when it comes
So
to
why
technology, unfortunately.
why do they have to engage in unsafe sex? Because you can just
It's not always unsafe though. It's not always unsafe.
yeah, but you can use multiple different types of contraception. Like obviously the condom can split, but what about spermicide? What about the pill? You can take combinations of these to reduce your odds.
Yeah, of course.
What about having sex after a certain period?
You have to remember,
Section.
a lot of women don't realize that they're pregnant until until you start developing the symptoms of it, which is like, morning.
Yeah, but why would that change anything?
Huh?
Why would that change?
At that point, it's become a pregnancy, hasn't it? At that point, you need to have an abortion. So when you say taking the pill, a pill is a form of abortion. It's called medical abortion.
The pill prevents the thing from the beginning, like literally before it even happens.
No, I'm pretty sure it kills the baby. It kills.
Well, what about condom and spermicide?
I don't really know much about spermicide, and also
spermicide. I remember learning about citizenship. Like once you spray on slot V, and then it kills the sperm before they can something like that. We learned in citizenship at some point.
I know, but it's clearly not a popular form of contraceptive because no one uses it. Clearly, no man.
I see a lot of people use it.
No,
man. No, it's not for the man. It's for the woman to use. The man wears the condom.
Yeah, I know they should, but if I haven't heard of it, then it's clearly not popular, is it?
I mean, I was taught it in citizenship, so I mean, I don't know.
I think it must be a recent thing. If it is, it might be expensive. Who knows what the restrictions are to it?
I was taught in citizenship a while ago, like lower school times. So I don't know.
It must be expensive then. Like
regardless, you're taught from a very early age, like when you hit puberty, do not have unsafe sex. It's drilled into your head. So obviously you do your research and stuff. Like it's not like you wouldn't. And on top of that, most of the time the condom don't split. Like this is like a very slim chance, like very slim case.
But it happens.
You can't really use it to argue for everyone. It's not really something you can. That's the same thing that people do with like rape cases and stuff. When rape is such a small minority of these abortion cases, they use that small minority to justify the whole thing when that's not really a necessary thing to do, or it's not reflected. No.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, I agree, but I do still think it's a necessary thing for a safe medical environment.
Like,
and as long as basically the way I see it is, a baby is not a baby until it starts becoming conscious and it has the ability to feel pain, right?
Oh yeah, this is where we get to the.
That's the two biggest things for me. That's the two biggest things, and usually studies have suggested. They haven't confirmed. Some of them have been refuted. Usually, consciousness starts around 24 weeks. Okay.
So before consciousness, are you saying that it's okay to kill it?
Yeah, I think so.
So what about people in comas? Like, is it okay to kill them?
When you need to, yeah. When you need
to. What if you took someone in a coma, but you knew they'd wake up in 3 months? But would it be alright to kill them then?
No.
So why is it? So just think of it like that.
But that's not the same circumstance, though, is it? That person is already living. It's already
See,
a person.
here's how I like to think of it. A lot of people like to say that fetuses are like clumps of cells, right? And that's all they are. And I agree with you that abortion isn't really murder, because like it doesn't follow the misogren yet. So it doesn't follow the 7 life processes. Therefore, it's not really life yet. So it's not really murder technically.
I'd say it is life, maybe. I'd argue it is life.
Yeah,
It is life.
that's why I think because a lot of people say it's a clump of cells, but I disagree with that because I think it's because we're all clumps of cells, really. Like you're a clump of cells, I'm a clump of cells.
Yeah, but there's a certain level of consciousness that I think.
Yeah, but the thing is, when it comes to, I think the way you should describe it is an organism because it is an individual organism, right? And it's forced to feed through the mother. It's not its fault that it has to do that. It's not fault of its own, but it has to feed through the mother.
No one said it's the baby's fault. I just think it's.
No, but like when people say that it's a clump of cells and it doesn't have any purpose of living, it's not its fault that it has to go through that, and it's an organism. And when it comes to autonomy, I agree that women should have bodily autonomy. That's important, just like anyone else. But that autonomy ends, in my opinion, when it affects someone else's, like that organism.
Yeah,
that organism's life is coming to an end because of that.
At what point is it okay for you?
It's not okay. There is no point for that. When you're pregnant.
At no point.
Oh, are you gonna go into the sperm cells of life as well?
No. I mean, like, at what point has it become like?
At this point, I like to stay clear of this argument because, like, for me personally, I don't like going into this argument because it's very subjective. There is no point.
Yeah, because like some people say fertilization.
Depending on who you ask, it's gonna change. So even if we could debate this for hours, but at the end of the day,
what is it for you,
won't
though?
make much of a difference. For me, it's honestly, I don't have one because it feels like you're just arbitrarily picking a point for me. So I don't really have one.
Because I know that when women have periods, right?
Yeah.
And they do have sex during those times, you can have loads of fertilized eggs that get flushed out during a period.
Yeah, only one gets to stay, right?
Exactly. So there are many fertilized eggs that get flushed out during a period, and those eggs could have become babies as they were, through the gestation period. So technically, with some of these pro-life arguments, isn't any woman who has more than one period like a serial killer?
Yeah, but is there anything that woman can do about it? It's more like, I guess you could probably call it like...
It's a natural process. It's a
natural process. So you can't really criminate them for that.
Of course, yeah, but then how does the argument stand of this being a potential future thing? Like, if it's happening naturally...
if the baby has arrived... what's it called again? The point. It's gone through the fallopian tube. It's hit the where I forgot what the wall is called, where it sits for the entire 9 months. Well, whatever the biology name is.
I've forgotten as well, man.
I knew this as well. I forgot all my days.
I remember.
Well, whatever it is. Wait, what?
I remember doing this in GCSE.
Yeah, me too. Menstrual cycle, yeah.
The corpus luteum and the.
Oh my days.
Follicle stimulating hormone, luteinizing.
Oh no. I was always so uncomfortable going through that because, like, obviously at that age I wasn't prepared for that shit.
What year were you?
Year 10, year 11. Remember what I told you about me being?
You need to grow up, Ibrahim. Seriously.
Remember what I told you about me being late to the party about mental maturity? Remember that whole discussion we had last episode?
It's actually mad. You actually are.
Not anymore. Okay, look, if they decided to go over the menstrual cycle in A level, I'd be fine with it. All right.
Yeah, but that's because you need to understand that at A level.
Look, all right. I have no argument against it. Like, I think I've reached the mental maturity now. Like, I think now that I've reached the point where there are adults that are less mature than me, I feel pretty good about myself.
Yeah, but there's always crazy people in every stage of life.
True. At least I'm not them, all right? It's fine. What are we talking about again?
I can't lie, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm properly struggling with this because I don't really know what to say. It's so hard to, like, agree on one.
It's difficult, yeah. A lot of arguments counter each other.
Yeah, but at one point, like, at some points, I agree with you. Like, this is a potential living human being that, you know. But on the other side, the practicality of it like we also have to consider that the woman's body will be going through changes too, and that she has a right to.
Yeah, but all these changes can be avoided really easily. Just don't have sex. It's just that simple. Sex isn't a mandatory
Yes,
thing for life.
it's just that simple, isn't it? Just don't have one of the most biologically compulsive.
Wait, you're not gonna die if you don't have sex. Like, there's many
No,
people who
but
are
it's
still virgins
something
out
that
there.
something we as humans enjoy, isn't it? Something we want to engage in. We're compelled to engage in
Yeah,
it
well, if you want
on
to
a
enjoy it,
fundamental
there's always
level.
going to be a downside to it.
Of course, yeah, but the downside is much greater for the woman, I think.
So it's still
The risk is
unprotected
so much
sex.
greater.
It doesn't change anything about the morality of it.
No, but the
Even if
morality
the
of it is
man also suffered, like, I don't think my stance would change.
no, but that's fine. But the morality of it is subjective. That's what I'm saying. The practicality of it, the actual physical implications of what happens to a man and a woman, is real. It's different for both a man and a woman, right?
Well,
A
I mean, I
man
think the subjectivity kind of
doesn't
changes
have
because
anything happen to him, huh?
I think I looked. I don't remember what study it was, so I can't be entirely sure. But I'm pretty sure a lot of the pro-life. There's a lot of pro-life women out there who are equal to the pro-choice men as well. So those women that are pro-life have also gone through these things. They know what it feels like.
Most of those pro-life women have a
Yeah.
right to their morality, but I can also almost guarantee that most of those women are probably Christian or Muslim. And most of those women have had beliefs thrust upon them from a very young age, and so they've been indoctrinated with these views where they genuinely believe, for some
Well,
reason, an Arab born in Palestine has golden hair and blue eyes and white skin.
hmm.
Like most of them, you ask them what race Jesus is, they'll tell you white. So I really can't trust their judgment.
I mean, I never learned that he was Jewish in school ever.
He's
I don't
Jewish
think.
and he was brown, okay? But we still
Yeah.
see him as an Aryan perfect skin color with
I mean, in his
beautiful flowing
depictions,
locks of hair, which is
if
absolutely inaccurate. So
if you look at his depictions, I guess that's probably where they got it from.
that's
In the
because it's been like whitewashed, you know? It's true. I don't know why you're laughing. It's actually true. The guy
yeah,
was
no,
born in
it is
Palestine.
true.
He's
Yeah.
probably brown, you know? But yeah, and so when you ask those women, unfortunately, and it's true of every community, it's true of every community. I say it about my community as well. When I'm watching, like, I like watching a lot of documentaries and debates about religion, right? And when I see
Yeah,
a
I
lot
can
of
tell.
I love watching atheist debates, yeah. But obviously, you'd think I'd laugh at the religious people because that's my thing. But I also laugh at the atheists too because there are some stupid atheists out there, man. I'm
Definitely,
sorry.
definitely.
Some of them have the most cringy, stupid arguments that you can hear, and what's it called? When you look down on someone, I've forgotten the word, patronize everyone that they
Oh,
talk to.
Patrona,
It's
yeah.
just, it's not a good way of communicating, and that's why I think every community is idiots. In
That's
the
what vegans do as
pro-life
well.
yeah, of course. In the pro-life community, I've just noticed that there's a trend in the idiots, which is that they
Pro-lifers,
happen to be very religious,
yeah.
except you, obviously, because you just happen to have a moral
Yeah.
difference to it.
I
But
absolutely
most of
hate
them
it.
happen to be.
I hate it when pro-lifers cite the Bible as a credible source. It's like,
Yeah.
why? Stop citing the Bible. Not everyone believes in it to begin with. And
Well,
also,
then
it's not a source.
are you gonna cite the science then?
Cite the science?
Yeah.
Well, like the life when life starts.
Yeah. Because
Well, there's no science to cite because it's subjective. There's so many studies done.
So, but what is the most important aspect to you for an individual? Because for me, it's always consciousness and pain that matters most. Like for anything, for even animals as well. Same thing.
I guess for me, it'd probably be potential, I guess. Because when it comes to consciousness can be argued with things like comas. Like, if you, well, for example, a person in a coma is unconscious. If you knew that they'd wake up in 9 months, you probably wouldn't pull the plug on them. Just like a baby, you know they're going to wake up in 9 months. So the consciousness doesn't really work for me. People say
I
memories, like,
I
they
get
counted
that,
that.
but I think the difference is with someone in a coma,
Yeah.
their existence isn't being connected to another human being. the same way an infant is. So an infant is growing inside another person, and that
But that's not their
person.
fault.
Of course, it's not the infant's fault. I'm not saying that it's not the infant's fault. I'm just saying
Yeah.
there's now differences now. There are things that you have to consider, which is that it's affecting the woman's body. This is the woman's body, remember, regardless of
Yeah.
how, like, it's the changes are going to be happening to her. The man doesn't go through anything, right?
So you're
Of course,
going with the more.
the man has a
Yeah.
right to his child because it's his child, and before a woman goes through an abortion, she has to. I think she should consult the father because that's the
Definitely.
father's child too. But at the end of the day, the last decision is absolutely the mother's right. I think
I agree.
because it's her body. So like,
Yeah, but are you trying to?
obviously up to a certain point, by the way. Like,
Yeah.
after you go past 24 weeks, I don't think you should have an abortion because the baby is now conscious and can feel pain, and
Yeah.
unless extraneous circumstances like the mother's life is in danger, right? Or like,
Which is very rare.
baby will come out with severe deformities that will like hinder its quality of life forever. Then yeah, basically. So up to a certain point, because my mum is very traditionalist, right?
Yeah.
She likes traditional gender roles, and she believes that women are much better at taking care of children than men are, and she does, yeah, I know, and she's against the whole she's against the whole transsexual.
Oh yeah, me and her could be
transgender
friends, bro.
transgender movement because she thinks it's basically men taking away the rights of women again. That's what she argues.
What?
Yeah. She thinks
That's not where I thought she was
women-
going.
Well, she thinks transgender women aren't women.
I mean, transgender and feminism collide a lot. That's the thing.
Yeah.
They do collide a ton.
Anyway, yeah, she thinks abortion should be allowed, but only it should have, because in the UK it's up to 24 weeks, right?
Yeah.
But she thinks it should be made less to like 20 weeks because she thinks that's more than enough time to consider it. And also,
Well, I've
the
just looked this
baby-
up. Yeah. You believe in consciousness, right?
Yeah. Consciousness.
Well, why isn't it 6 weeks? Because after 6 weeks, the heartbeat starts. So the fetus has a heartbeat. So why isn't that okay?
Consciousness isn't derived from heartbeat; it's derived from brain function.
Yeah, but doesn't that signify being alive?
Well, it's the same. No, consciousness isn't the same as being alive. It's not the same.
So
Just like
what would
when you said like someone in a coma isn't alive, but their heart is still beating. Do you get that?
Yeah.
They're not conscious, but they are technically alive because they've got normal body function.
But you wouldn't pull the plug on them, would you?
Well, no, but they're also not like connected to another human being and changing the other human being fundamentally. Like if someone had like, if there was someone in a coma for 9 months and they were taking up massive amount of resources.
Yeah, comas do take life support.
I guess like it's not really a one-to-one comparison. I can't lie, because with a coma we don't really know if they're gonna wake up or not, but with a baby we do.
No, but when you isolate the idea of consciousness being alive, then
I don't think it's the same though. It's not the same.
because it's sort of like the way you decided to take a mechanical perspective instead of a realistic one at the beginning, sort of like that.
Yeah.
So it's sort of the same thing, literally the same thing. How you basically used theoretics to say that the woman suffers more, when in reality it'd be both. Just like that, you're isolating one thing in this example as well. So it sort of applies the same way.
Yeah.
So, another argument people like to use is the whole concept of, well, if they're in a coma, they also have memories with people, so they have attachments to people, which a fetus doesn't. But the problem with that is, what about people with Down syndrome? What about people who have, they have conditions where they have memory loss, things like that. You can't, eventually you reach a point where you can't really, this whole argument of conception just stops working. So when it comes to morality, the whole thing, I think that's why I think potential is the best way to say it. How this person might become, not when I say potential, I don't mean, this person might become a doctor and save and figure out the cure to cancer. I don't mean that. I mean like...
Yeah, do you mean potential for living? Like
for living, yeah. Well, I think that's why that's the best one.
Can I ask you another question, yeah? Can I ask you another question? do you believe like? Because I was watching a stand-up comedian. My favorite stand-up comedian is George Carlin, right? And
George Carlin. Oh, nice.
he talks about abortion and talks about religion and all this funny stuff. And he was
Hmm.
talking about abortion one time, and he asked the question like, do you like believe in the sanctity of life? Have you heard that before?
I have, yeah, but I've forgotten like what exactly.
It's sort
Yeah.
of like that life is inherently precious, and that
Oh,
we
right.
should
Yeah.
strive to protect it. And
Yeah.
George Carlin put forth this like logical argument, which is like, who said life is precious though? Like,
You,
who
well,
said that?
isn't preciousness decided by how little of it you have? Like you only have one life.
Yeah, but no,
You only get one.
with little the preciousness, like you when you open a pack of crisps and you find one unique crisp, is that unique crisp precious now?
I guess not. Yeah. I guess it's precious
So
in
like
terms of yeah.
he basically argued that we're we've only decided life is precious because we're alive. You don't see like John F. Kennedy and like I don't
Yeah.
know all these dead people in history saying, well, actually, being dead is quite precious as well because they're dead, right? They can't
Yeah.
argue their viewpoint. So it comes from a biased perspective, the whole idea of life is precious inherently.
What
So
would
he
you rather
basically
not be alive?
no, but that's only because of my strong compulsion to want to stay alive. The molecules in my body want to live on and pass on
So why
my
wouldn't the
genetic information.
fetus? Why would
He's
the
not
fetus
arguing.
want death over life?
He's not arguing the fetus wants death. He's just arguing the whole idea of
Well, I
sanctity
mean,
of
all right, let
life
me
is
change it then.
stupid
So why
because it's
wouldn't
biased.
there be? Sorry, yeah, say it again.
Because it's biased. The whole argument is biased because
If
we're
yeah,
arguing that we're precious, which is stupid.
I don't see how. Actually, that's like a whole like thing, isn't it? A whole branch of science. How most of things are. I forgot what it's called. It's like deduction and induction. How most things are based on assumptions and are biased and things like that. That's a whole field. That's a whole thing. Have you heard
Yeah,
of it?
we
Induction.
do. Yeah, and we do it in maths, proved by induction. Yeah.
And the whole concept of, well, induction shows that it's a pattern, but patterns, it's not guaranteed to continue, but everything we've decided, gravity and things come from patterns. Might not be true. It's like a hard problem. That's another hard problem. That's why this debate is so hard, because every branching path leads to more complicated parts, and eventually you get so far away from the discussion it can lead to issues.
Man, this
But yeah, when it comes
argument.
to abortion, there's morality and there's practicality, right? And morally, if you
Yeah.
look at the potential perspective of killing a child, that's incorrect.
I wouldn't call it a child yet.
It's an organism. Remember what I said about organism?
Killing a baby, I guess you could say, maybe fetus. Fetus, probably.
Yeah, well, what is a fetus though? Like, what would you describe a fetus as?
Is a heavily matured. It's basically a baby still in gestation. It's not become a baby yet. It's like the same way lava isn't. It's called magma before it comes out.
Yeah.
It's that basically.
So do you like? No, but like, what do you think there is like on a practical level? Like, what do you think? What is a fetus?
Oh, no.
Like, that's where it is. Yeah, that's its stage of development. But like, what is it?
It's obviously still cells, just like the rest of us.
Yeah, we're cells too, so it doesn't work.
It's basically us, but way less matured and way less developed.
Yeah, but calling it calling it just cells is a bit. It's accurate.
Yeah,
but
it's
inadequate.
Yeah, it's inadequate. You're right. It is. It's.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying it's just basically a baby, but that's
What?
still
Yeah.
inside.
What? To be honest, what sets a baby apart from like a fetus apart from a baby? I've never really understood. What sets them apart?
I think inherently a fetus is usually less developed than a baby. I think a fetus might not actually be consciously aware of its surroundings. Maybe. I'm not sure.
When did you say consciousness starts? 24 weeks, right?
That's what currently the science is suggesting. It's not guaranteed though.
Yeah, I mean this entire argument of yeah.
some people that refute it and argue actually consciousness starts earlier. And, some people go all the way back to fertilization, which is obviously stupid.
Life begins at conception. Yeah, a lot of people cite, like religious people especially, believe that God breathes life into it, and therefore you can't instantly.
Mistake, man. Straight away.
Instantly, oh man. So
I will say though,
we've reached a bit of a stalemate.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Like I don't know where to. Okay, right. Let me summarize exactly what I believe. Yeah, because this is difficult. Man,
it's very hard, isn't it? Yeah.
Abortions would take place regardless.
Okay.
To protect women in a safe environment, I feel like abortion should be regulated by the government so that it's easier it's easier for women to have it done in a safe and secure way, just like any other piece of medical treatment, right? I believe it is medical treatment because it's got to do with the body, it's got to do with the person's health and their future.
Okay.
And so I said from that purely reductionist perspective, at a certain point, we've got to basically say that a fetus can be removed from a human body as if it wasn't important. And some circumstances are more important at that point. We just haven't agreed what point it is.
Yeah. Okay, and I believe that a woman does have the right to bodily autonomy, just like everyone else, but that ends when it affects someone else, which is the fetus. And I believe, if I wrote the rules, I like the idea of if a woman needs to get an abortion, she should go to 2 doctors and get approval from both of them when they say that she would like risk her life from not being, if she didn't get the abortion. I like that rule. And aside from that, abortion ban.
But when does it become an abortion for you? When does it become an abortion?
When does it become an abortion? Once, see, now we've reached back into the, like, when does life start?
No, but this is important because at what point is...
It is important, but it is important, but what makes this debate so hard is that we don't know. That's what makes it so hard.
But that's what I'm asking you, innit? When do you think it's an abortion?
Oh, man. See, again, I can't give you a date.
The second the man nuts in the woman, does she now have to go to the doctor and ask for it?
See, I can't give you a date. I just physically can't give you one because.
But then I need to know where the standards are then, because you can't say.
It feels like cherry picking.
It feels like.
I mean the woman having to go to 2 doctors for if the woman's life is in danger, and for that there's no time limit. Like, even if it's on, actually, I mean, I guess it's on the last week, and that's kind of deep. Oh man, so hard.
When does this happen? You still haven't explained it to me. When is this an abortion? When is the act of destroying this gestation an abortion?
All right. You really want a date? All right, I'll give you a date. 6 weeks. Bang.
Okay.
Boom.
For 6 weeks, yeah.
Which is when the heartbeat starts. The heartbeat begins at 6 weeks.
Let me Google that. When does
based on healthline.com gave me that result. 5 to 6 weeks. It's 5 to 6 weeks, by the way. Would you get any results?
Yeah, but it's not really even a baby. It's just a fetus at that point. Sorry, it's not. It's just an embryo.
But what is an embryo? It's a clump of cells, but we're all clumps of them. You see, we just lead in circles.
Look how tiny it is. It's actually so small. It's as small as your fingernail. That's how small it is. At that.
Yeah, that's why I said potential. That's why I said potential is my biggest. Because look how big it gets. Third trimester.
No, but this is
it's hard. There was another point I wanted to address, just because I'm curious to see if you fall under this. Do you think that this whole pro-life, pro-choice is oppressing women? Ooh, long silence, long thought.
I've got to consider all the variables here. That's why. The argument of pro-choice versus pro-life.
Pro-women, pro-life, yeah. If you want, I can fill the time while you think.
I have to say, No, it's not.
Exactly. Me too. Me too. I agree.
I
For a
have to
second,
say
I thought we
yes.
were gonna have to debate that. People have turned into a gender issue.
Like how?
No uterus, no opinion. Why are all white men making this decision? You're just trying
That
to
is true,
oppress
man.
women. Things like
A
that.
lot of white men do make that decision though. It's always white old men in Supreme Courts that make that decision for women.
I'm a young brown man. I'd probably make the same decision. Does that change anything?
Actually, yeah, I think it would, because you'd come
You
up
think
with a
so?
refreshing argument. You'd come up with a refreshing argument, maybe.
Yeah, but the end result is the
Maybe a
exact
reason.
same.
Well,
The end result.
I'd prefer if more women were on there. More women.
Yeah, I don't know why.
made that
I'm
decision.
sure that's happened. I'm sure people have debated that or not because there's plenty of powerful women these days. I'm sure they exist.
I know, but they
I'm not too
clearly
into
haven't.
American politics.
They haven't affected like you
Yeah, I
know
might
the
not.
whole
Yeah,
the whole. For me, getting rid of an abortion, getting rid of the legal right to an abortion, makes you seem less developed as a country.
I wanted to get into this as well.
Like America, now that America has made it like no longer a constitutional right, it actually
What's next?
seems like America is actually an outlier for the rest of the Western world. It's actually an outlier now.
I'm sure the West is gonna change too. I can almost guarantee that more people are
No,
gonna
man, we
go.
want Colombia. Colombia, it has one of the most notorious reputations
Yeah,
of like drug dealers, of these terrible gangs and all that. And even they had the foresight to say, actually, women deserve this right?
yeah, but things change.
Colombia allowed
Policies
abortion.
change.
No, man, I feel
America's
like
so
it's
huge.
become.
Like I'm
And you
sure
know
people are gonna
what?
change.
There are so many, do you see how many of the southern states straight away, bang, 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 Christ said this in the Old Testament,
Texas.
and it's like, oh, God, why? Why are you doing this to yourselves? You make yourself seem like idiots to the rest of
And
the world.
at the exact same time, they're allowing more guns. It's like, what?
Like, exactly. Do you see how stupid the argument is? We got to protect the children. Oh, but get rid of guns to protect the children. Nah, let's not do that. That's so
So
stupid.
stupid, man.
Like, you see so many school shootings of living, breathing children, and still something hasn't clicked in their heads that maybe let's get rid of guns, let's control them.
Yeah, how?
But
In fact,
instead a medical procedure gets done in a safe environment for babies that haven't even been born yet. No, that's against God's word and all that. Rubbish, man. Serious. Terrible. We need to
I'm pretty sure. I'm
the
pretty
planet
sure.
needs to die.
I know. Like,
Seriously.
we need to invade, bro. We need to bring back the old history. King George needs to come back. Let's get
Can you
some.
imagine how differently the world could have been without colonization? Do you know
Honestly, oh my days. You know what? I think recently, yeah,
the powerhouses would be like India and Africa and China, and they'd basically be like agricultural centers of the world. They'd have so much power, so much influence, and now they've literally been just molested by Britain and America historically. They literally have been molested.
I think you know all those you know all those I forgot what you call them, like the camps, like the people who live like uncivilized, sort of, like they live in the forest and in the Arctic and those lot. You remember them?
Yeah.
I feel like that's what Africa would have been if like everyone, if we didn't invade. Like everyone would have just been like that. You know the people I'm talking about. I don't know their names. I've forgotten the. Hang on, I'll look up.
Aboriginals.
Is it Aboriginal? Hang on, let me.
Wait, but what are you talking about though? Are you saying like they
Like
would?
I think when we invaded, we changed all the policies and stuff. Like we sort of fast forwarded.
Man. No, we didn't. We didn't.
What, you think we didn't bring in?
No. We carved up Africa and gave it to different parts of Europe and America.
Yeah.
And then basically destroyed their economy by pillaging and taking all their resources.
Yeah, but we also transferred our ideals to them as well.
What are those ideals? Why do we need to transfer our ideals to them?
Well, no, it just happens, just like that.
What, we need to
Like,
civilize savages?
Huh? Yeah, no,
We need
didn't
to-
savages? My history knowledge is gonna start lacking. But didn't we start shooting, like hunting hunting them like animals or something, if they lived
I'm
uncivilized?
telling you, man.
Oh well, this is a different topic entirely. But
Yeah. Go on.
what was I? What were we talking about? Ah, for fuck's sake!
You want to
Yeah.
ask me a question?
Oh yeah, I was gonna, because this is the next point. I was gonna say, what do you think do you think this will lead to any more rights being taken away? What do you think this will lead to?
Oh yeah, man.
What do you think's next? Trans?
No, I think it might be gay marriage will be.
No way, nah, not
It
possible.
will, yeah. That's
LGBT is way too big now. It's way too big for them to do.
That's what the Supreme Court said. Like they would. Well, abortion was way too big. A lot of people thought it was like already ironclad. Like we do abortion, that's normal, and then it got just wiped away. Gay marriage. It's a very conservative Supreme Court right now in the US. So gay marriage, and they mentioned gay marriage. They did mention it.
I think that's.
I'm telling you, man.
Either way, it would have been bad. Even if they allowed abortion, it would have been bad, I think. Because, have you ever heard of eugenics?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
I think that's what would have come if abortion was allowed. That whole concept of, well, if the baby's going to grow up poor, or if the baby's going to grow up disabled, we should just kill it off. So it doesn't have to live that life. And that's a very dangerous. I think that's, if we normalized and rationalized killing fetuses just like that, I think that's what would have been next. Because how's that any different?
That's a slippery slope. Like
yes, so either way, I think right now we're on the hill, and either side is slippery.
No, you've magnified the issue way more than it would ever go to. Because
how do you know?
Because there's no evidence to support that like conclusion about it.
Well, I guess we'll see with gay marriage too. But,
eugenics has historically been like called racist. We wouldn't employ eugenics in another way because people would see right through that.
No, but like, no, it's not going to be officially called eugenics. I mean, like, I just want a casual abortion. I just want a casual abortion, but I'm really doing it because the baby's disabled, or the baby will grow up poor.
Well,
ooh, got you in a bit of a sticky situation, haven't I, bro?
No, I just got something in my keyboard.
All right.
I just think I don't think that's true. I don't think we'd get that point. I think people would see right through that. That's quite clearly being racism. Yeah.
I mean, people haven't seen through trans ideologies yet, even though trans is. People haven't seen through trans ideologies, yeah, even though trans is stupid.
Well, a lot of people have, like swimming center, Bina.
True, I guess. No, everyone does.
Yeah, you know, not everyone will agree on everything.
This is kind of sidestepping, but you know, they've started employing drag queens to teach stories to kids in schools. Yeah.
Okay.
Drag queens in children's. Oh. Anyway.
Yeah, but I don't. Does that really?
You know, drag queens.
I know, but is that really a big like issue?
Yeah, I mean, drag queens, they only just spend time in adult areas doing adult activities with drugs and certain clubs, certain 18+ clubs that they attend and stuff.
Well, are they dressed provocatively and like?
They're dressed like drag queens.
Okay, so probably provocatively then.
Well, okay. Yeah, sort of.
In that case, then it's probably inappropriate.
But not probably.
Not for the same reason we agree on.
Oh, all right. Well, I guess to each their own.
I can't believe we still haven't reached a conclusion.
Yeah, we have not.
Normally by this time we do, yeah. And I'm struggling. Like, I don't know.
We should let's go one at a time. So first we'll start with what was the first point you brought up? Oh yeah, it will reduce safe abortions, right? And it will basically get safer. And I believe that, well, yeah, it will, but it will also reduce abortions in general, and that's the point, because you can apply that to any law. By banning illegal immigration, we haven't reduced it. Like, people still illegally immigrate, but we had to get rid of it. We still had to ban it, didn't we? Now people just do it in a dangerous way, but it was still a law we had to make. So I feel like this argument doesn't work. Let's start with that one first. Just see if we can like settle something.
I think that you have a point. Actually, it's a logical, rational point. That you
1 point for me.
What?
Is that 1 point for me then?
Okay, if you want to go with the point system. Okay.
I don't see how we're gonna settle this. I honestly don't.
There is no settling. I'm not gonna lie. Like, even if you
There
make
isn't.
like state of facts, I'm probably still not gonna agree with you. Like, because there's something I can't really explain it, man. There's something in me fundamentally that just doesn't think it's right to remove that. Right?
Is it for freedom? So you're doing it for freedom's sake?
I don't even know, man. I
Bro,
think
you
it's
know-
literally just. To me, it's always seemed like it should be allowed, like to remove an unwanted pregnancy, because it seems like healthcare, like normal healthcare, should be supported.
For me, it's odd because I've kind of swapped sides. Because when I was proper religious, I proper believed pro-choice. I was pro-choice as hell. Yeah. And now that I'm the opposite side, I'm
But the
pro-life.
Quran is against it, though. The Quran is against.
Yeah, I was a kid. I mean, from a as the Quran, yeah, the Quran says that God gave you life, so only God can take it away. But
yeah,
I was pro-choice because I thought, oh, well, it should be the woman's right to do it. But now that I've swapped, when I saw morals, it's sort of it's a bit weird. I just don't think you can kill children, man. It's not something you can do.
I know, but okay.
You know, morally it's wrong. You know, morally it's just a gouge of. You know, man. You know.
It's.
I was expecting this to be like back and forth for crazy, but none of us can do it.
No, because both of us are like making valid reasons, and like
there is no. It's subjective. It's so subjective. That's kind of worrying, though. That's really worrying. How are we supposed to reach political decisions? The only way is to go by subjective opinion, which isn't reflective of everyone. So that's worrying for the state of like how laws are going to be made in the future based on this.
I think it's got to come down to like democracy in it. What do most people agree with?
I assume most people would agree pro-choice for this.
I don't think so.
There's a lot more lefty people than righty people.
Most, actually, yeah, you're right. I think most people are more
left-wing.
Pro-choice. Yeah, pro-choice, I think.
Like, here's how I think of it. Hard left are full of idiots and stupid trans people, and hard right are full of like racists and crazy. You gotta stay in the middle.
But I'd rather be hard left than hard right.
I'd much rather be hard right, bro. You will never see me.
Are you being serious? You'd rather be hard right, so you'd rather be like a racist and society.
I cannot justify trans no matter what happens. Especially with children, man. Allow the children. Huh?
So racism would be more like
which right policy promotes racism? Which one?
No, nothing. It's just a lot of people. Right-wing people tend to be much more traditional.
Yeah, so that doesn't mean
like when we've studied psychology, we know some criminals are literally victims of their brain, their circumstance, of their environment. Sometimes they just live in a very impoverished area, and crime is their only option, right?
Yeah.
But traditionalist right-wing people would argue, no, crime is unacceptable. Criminals should be held accountable, and they have things like death penalties and all this. They're just so out of touch with. They lack empathy. I can't lie, they do actually lack empathy.
That's why I'm centre-right, because I'm against death penalty as well. So
but you'd rather be right-wing than left-wing. That's what.
Look, man, if we allowed hard left, you would be allowing genderless societies. You'd basically be killing sports off completely because women can't compete anymore. Women can't compete in sports.
If you allowed hard right, you'd be promoting racism, traditionalist values.
At least with the hard right,
home and not allowed to work.
At least with the hard right, as hard right people could agree together. With hard left, feminism and transgenderism is completely gone, bro.
The will come after you.
There's no way they are hard right. Allow that, bro.
The KKK are hard right. I guarantee you, ask any KKK member, they are absolutely hard right. You're telling me they're hard left?
I'm telling you, they're
Exactly.
insane. I'm telling you, they don't
No.
fall under a political opinion. Bro.
In other words, they're hard right. That's another word for insane. I'd much rather be hard left insane than hard right insane.
Hard left wouldn't function, okay? Feminists and transgenderism would never agree. It just would never happen. You would never be able to get anything done as a hard lefter, ever.
Yeah, you would. Yeah, you would.
You tell me how transgenderism and feminism... Look at your own mum, for example. Your own mum is against it.
Yeah, but I'm against my mum with a lot of stuff. Like, my mum still believes in a god, so I laugh at her for that.
Probably laugh at a lot of people.
I do, yeah. It's quite enjoyable. But I have to...
I could do one thing if you want to try. I want to look up common arguments for pro-life choice. Let's see what comes up.
Yeah, all right. Let's do that. Common argument.
Which one do you want to start with, pro-life or pro-choice?
Either one.
All right, I'll start with pro-life. Why not? They don't just give you free... Okay, let's see. Scientists... This is coming from The Guardian, so we're going very unreputable already. Abortion leads to depression and suicide. The first one is abortion leads to depression and suicide.
Okay.
I agree. When you abort a baby, I've heard a lot that it can cause like long-term stress.
Well, if it's not been your choice, yeah.
Well, not always if it's not your choice, but like
if you haven't deliberated on it long enough, you gotta be sure in it if you want to do this or not. You gotta be sure.
Yeah, but even if you've deliberated on it, even if you're like, oh yes, I want to abort, yeah, even afterwards you can feel a lot of guilt. I've heard.
Yeah, of course. You feel a lot of guilt for doing a lot of right things.
Oh, but I've just looked down. It says a study in Denmark showed that there wasn't a negative effect. So I guess this is like, but there is research that has shown it. I guess this is another middle ground point. There's no research.
I can't lie. This is just psychologists really struggling to explain anything. Because I'm not gonna lie to you, psychologists are actually useless.
Oh shit! This is paradigms and paradigm shifts, bro. Research methods. Honestly, psychology, there's two. This is where I'm going into, and I can tell you psychology is just,
Where they actually waffle so much. It's actually all waffle. And the way everyone pretends like someone has insight when no one actually has any clue what's going on.
Honestly, I think Freud got it right, bro. I think Freud is... We should be listening to Freud.
At least Freud admitted that there's no way to explain stuff in the brain.
Yeah.
It's literally just unconscious behavior, right? But like some other people that come with the role, like their behaviorists are just absolutely struggling. They're struggling.
Skinner was 100% having some trouble, bro.
He was struggling. He got beaten by his parents. That's how he figured out operating conditioning.
He was punished severely. Reducing access to abortion decreases demand for abortion. Is the next as a point as well. The other ones are like abortion causes cancer, abortion fetus can feel pain.
For goodness.
We can't really debate that, can we? Reducing access to abortion decreases. This is the one that you were going against, right? That you were saying, oh yeah, well then it will just increase unsafe abortions, but it will also reduce demand for abortion. I like pro-life shit. Let me search up pro-choice arguments.
Okay, fine.
Common arguments for pro-choice. Huh? Oh, this is pro-life. No, that's not what I want. Study that debunks most anti-abortion arguments. Alright, this is supposed to debunk my arguments. So let's find out.
Okay.
What if... This is from the New Yorker. So let me just see if they've got anything here. Oh, stop waffling. Just give me the points. How women feel afterwards. We've already talked about this. Some women regret their choice. Oh, what about this point? How about pro-life as after the baby is born? You know how after the baby's born, they just say, chuck it into clinics, chuck it into orphanages and stuff.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Do you think after the baby's born, that pro-life has just stopped caring about its life? Because in my opinion, that's not really pro-life's responsibility. It's sort of like, you wouldn't expect cancer research to donate to kidney dialysis charities. Even though they're both... Because cancer research is for cancer. Pro-life is for fetuses. Then the next thing should take over. I do think that we should, now that this rule has been made, we should put our foot down and start helping these
kids. Pro-life is misleading then. If you're for life existing, then you should be against stuff like guns, and you should be against stuff like wars.
What
But
does
you
pro-life
always
have to do with guns?
because guns have a track record of taking lives. You know, have you heard of that?
That's a bit controversial. I don't know if guns do that. You want to talk about gun control? You want to talk about, because I don't think we can make gun control into an episode. We agree too much.
We agree on gun control. Surely we do. Don't be.
You know what? I only have one argument for gun control.
What?
Like not for support of it, but I think one way we could concede. Instead of banning guns completely, I say we allow like revolvers only.
I say
For self-defense.
we cut off America from the mainland of the rest of the world.
I think we should
let it float away into the middle of the Pacific. And they
get a laser cutter, just laser cut the entirety of the
United States. They're the only part of the world that exists anyway. So
yeah, they call the winners of their football like world champions, even though it only takes place in America.
Absolute rubbish. The World Series. Where in the world is the world getting involved in that? There's only
no
America.
World there. There's not even all the states. Like, what do you mean world?
It's not even South America. Like Brazil, Argentina, none of them are getting involved. It's literally just the state. That's it.
It's so stupid. But I think, you know how...
Anyway, yeah.
I was looking into it, like, you know how there's rifles, for example. There was a semi-automatic rifle which, in its clip, had 375 bullets. Who needs that much for self-defense? Nobody.
There is no...
You know what you need those bullets for? You know what you need 375 bullets for? School shootings. We should just allow, like, pistols only or revolvers only. That's it. Max. Because that's all you need to defend yourself.
We shouldn't allow any guns.
To be honest, but that's a bit too much. Like, America can't handle that.
Guns are bad news. They're bad news.
Oh,
don't need them. If you really need self-defense, just wear have some bear spray with you.
Pepper spray.
Pepper spray. Something very, very strong contaminant, like something that really hurts but doesn't.
Sohna,
kill you.
If we ban guns, then just the legal guns will be stopped being sold. Now we'll just allow unsafe gun purchases to take place.
Except we have empirical evidence against that, which is the UK.
I mean, this is America, bro. America's a different breed. You know, they only know 0.8 languages. They don't even know one language.
Yeah, I know. That's funny, actually. But what I'm saying is, we have seen it be successfully implemented in a country with a similar outlook on the world like America. Because Britain always tries being America, I can't lie.
Yeah.
And so if we manage to do it successfully with proper political action and crunching down on this, so can America. They just don't want to because gun companies are too powerful and they lobby and they influence politics.
Since you like playing devil's advocate, right? Is there any argument that's right for gun control at all? I mean, not for gun control, as in for guns to be all guns fine. Is there any argument?
It boosts natural selection.
Hell yeah, natural selection, gun range. All the Texas people are celebrating right now. No, we don't need more Texans, actually. We don't need more of them. There's already enough. We don't need more.
No, I feel like we've deviated so far from abortion because we're struggling.
Because we can't talk about abortion. This is like the most disappointing ending to an episode. How we can't.
It actually is because we're not gonna
We've literally made zero progress.
Anymore. I don't even know anymore.
We've been discussing for 59 minutes and 14 seconds, and we have not reached a single conclusion to anything. And every single thing I Google is already something we've talked about. So we're not going to reach anything. Oh, man. This is so... Yeah, I'm out of things to say. Oh, my days.
Would you ban abortion in the UK? Would you ban it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pro-life, so yeah.
Man,
but only remember the circumstances I mentioned, rape and mother's life in danger.
Why are those circumstances okay for you?
Well, for rape, I think it's pretty clear. If a mother has to because the reason I said that abortion is wrong is because it's a get out of jail free card. The mother engages in the risky act.
Okay.
She knows it's risky, and then the fetus has to pay the consequence. But in rape, that's not the case.
but the fetus still has to pay the consequence.
Yeah, but so does the mother. The mother also paid the consequence of getting
Of course.
illegally.
Then why are you punishing
That's where the lesser of two evils exists. That's where abortion is the lesser of two evils.
How?
What do you mean how?
Your argument has been that abortions.
Let me put it for you like this.
They're punishing another human being for someone else's mistake. Right?
You know how you mentioned lesser of two evils for pro-choice? When it's a get out of jail free card, so when any case where it's not rape or mother life in danger, abortion isn't the lesser of two evils. But once rape is involved, then it does become the lesser of two evils. Having the mother have to first go through rape and then having to then carry a baby to term, I think that's more evil than abortion. But having a mother engage in illegal, risky activities and then having to carry the term, that's not grounds for abortion.
Why is the baby having to pay that price? That's what I'm asking you. Your argument was
because there is no other option. If the baby didn't have to pay the price, that would have been better.
There is. The baby can still be carried to term, but maybe the mum just doesn't need to take care of the baby.
Actually, you know what you said? A lot of pro-lifers agree with you. I'm an exception to that.
What?
Pro-lifers agree that rape is not a valid excuse.
Most pro-lifers are idiots and they don't know what it's like to live in a harder world. It's just because most of the mums, most of the women that are pro-lifers just stay at home and they don't have jobs and they work for their husband and that's it.
I think women still know about
children. They're baby making factories and they've been indoctrinated with Christ being their savior and that's it.
Look, have you seen how many feminists there are that believe in God? I don't know about that one, Chief.
Most feminists are stupid too.
That's left wing. You're countering your own left wingers. Right. This is the name of progression. This is the progression you wanted, bro. This is progression.
Both of them are idiots. Left wing, right wing. We need another one called forward wing, where we just agree that both of them are stupid.
Forward wing. You know what? There was a picture. Let me see if I can find it. There's a picture that kind of describes my political take. Did I ever show it to you? It's like a stick man on a map or whatever.
No, but
I don't know if I'll be able to find it, but I'll try and show it to you.
Anyway, basically,
yeah,
your argument has been that you gotta basically, if it's the woman's fault that she's engaged in risky activity, even though it's unbalanced because the man doesn't have any risk, right? He's not risking his body. Even though you agree that it's unbalanced, you still think the woman should incur the consequences of having to care for a child.
But, look, I told you, the man does suffer consequences financially, and B, if the man was the one who gave birth, it wouldn't change my opinion.
Not the physical consequences. He's not basically barred from certain activities for 9 months.
Remember, pro-lifers don't agree for pro-life because they want to reduce women's rights. They do it for the fetus, not for the woman.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. And if your whole point was for the fetus, right? That was the whole point. But then, why are you punishing the fetus then when the mother gets raped? Because either way, yes, I understand the woman has gone through the rape, but now you're killing the baby regardless.
Don't you think a line has been crossed between engaging purposefully in risky activities, knowing the consequences, and
of course,
being forced?
In both scenarios, the baby is dying.
Yeah, but in the second scenario, the baby dying is lesser of the two evils. In the first one, it isn't.
No, it isn't. The baby dying is because the baby dying is still causing the baby to die. A life is still being lost. I thought the whole point of a pro-life argument was that life is precious and that we need to keep it. We need to keep it alive if it has the potential to grow. And
I'll change my perspective on that if you want me to so badly. Calm. Abortion not allowed even in rape scenarios. Thank you, Sohna. I appreciate you opening my eyes wide.
It's revealed to the world that you're an idiot, and so I won.
Thank you. No, but I'm using your points, so thank you for opening my eyes. Thank you for playing devil's advocate.
Basically, my logic was that you can't allow abortions in certain scenarios and then not allow it in other scenarios because either way, the baby's gonna die, right?
It's subjective.
If you're pro-life,
we've reached a subjective point again.
Yeah,
Because it's about
anyway,
morality again, and so it's subjective completely. So
it's
this
not
is again a
morality.
dead end.
Morality is stupid when it comes to practicality. I can't lie.
Morality, it's just a dead end everywhere. It doesn't matter where we go. I mean, economically, having an abortion is costly on the economy. So economically, it's better to be pro-life.
Oh, it's plastic surgery.
Yeah, I'm not agreeing with plastic surgery either, bro.
Yeah, I know, but should we remove it? Should we remove that as an option for people?
I mean, if the what's it called? If the person is paying, then isn't that beneficial for the economy?
No, because the resources are expensive.
The resources are expensive, that is true. But I mean, they pay to get it, so they pay the resources.
They're not
So,
paying
like,
for the resources. They're paying for the they're paying for the doctor's expertise. That's it.
yeah, and the doctor needs to be paid, and that's a resource that they're paying for.
Exactly.
So they are
So
paying
what
for
I'm saying
resources.
is something that's costly something that's costly, but I don't know what I'm saying anymore. I can't lie. The heat gets-
Yeah, but we're gonna suffer from heat stroke. You want to end it here? This is a bit of a bam and a whimper here, to be honest.
I can't
America-
even lie yet. I still don't know where I stand anymore. Like,
Do you want to? My take hasn't really changed. I mean, apart from at the end, now even in rape situations, calm. Let's do it. Yo, go anti-abortion. Woo!
you can only either be anti-abortion fully or none. Because
No, I don't think so.
if your whole point of the pro-life argument is to save the children from dying, that's the whole argument, right?
Yeah.
Well, then either way, you shouldn't allow it to happen because a child dying is the biggest crime in your eyes.
Not particularly. I mean, oh man, it's hard. This is morality again. Because does the child dying is that more important than the mother's well-being once she's been raped and had to carry a baby to term?
Yeah, is it?
That's where morals come in, and morals lead to subjectivity, and subjectivity is...
Or
Oof.
you could just
I mean,
rational.
you're killing the baby in any circumstance. That's evil, bro. You're basically saying, all right, you can go have all the unprotected sex you want, all of it.
I'd rather allow it in every circumstance than disallow it in every circumstance, right? Except obviously,
also, there's also the issue is with rape is that it makes up such a minority of cases you can't use it as an argument. So all this discussion doesn't mean anything when in general abortion should be.
No, but we're trying to make rules, right? We're trying to make rules about.
That's why I think if you get what's it called approval from 2 doctors, you should be able to get it. Because like that's a middle ground, isn't it? Because there's no way to go anti or pro. You have to go middle ground. So you have pro-life, pro-choice, and in the middle is pro-circumstance. But the circumstances change depending on who you ask.
I'm still pro-choice. I can't lie. Still am.
I'm pro-circumstance, leaning more pro-life still. No, we've reached from the first second we started this recording to now. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed.
Yeah, we haven't changed our opinion.
We've talked for an hour and 8 minutes and said nothing.
Yeah, it's true.
Hooray! Look at us, man. We're just. Isn't this what Infallible's all about?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's a bit of a depressing ending.
Yeah, that's it, innit? It's too hot, man. Allow it.
I know. It's 37, 38 degrees. Our house is not built for this, man.
Yeah, let's
just
end it now. Let's end it. The heat's getting to me. Serious, I'm gonna die.
Any final words then?
Ibrahim has shown himself to be an idiot once again. There we go.
Excuse me. My final words are Sohna's just woke. He's part of the woke group. Woke liberal. You're a woke liberal.
Excuse me. How dare you? I'm not woke.
I'm gonna be seeing you on Disney Channel in a few years, talking about LGBTQ and coloring your hair pink. I can see it happening already.
Okay, cool. Whatever. I'll still be big enough to violate you.
You're gonna turn into who's that person? Caitlyn Jenner.
Whatever, man. I don't care.
All right, that's the end. Thanks for watching.
Let's get ready for what's it called?
Next up is morality. Next up is moral dilemmas.
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. Okay.
All right, cool.
Bye.
You've been watching Infallible. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Yeah. Bye.
I'm so sad.